Hey guys, I'm going to try to talk a little loud out here because of the waterfall behind me. It's a little loud. But anyway, it's a pretty day here in North Carolina. The temperature is about 91. The relative humidity is about 70%. And the heat index is over 100 degrees. So I don't want to stay here too long so I can get back on the bike and cool down. But anyway, what I'm going to do today on my video to talk about the controller and how it works. I know that I'm interested in it. I've learned a few things. I'm sure of a few things I haven't learned. So if y'all run across anything yourself, please let me know so I may update this at another time. But right now, let's get on with the show. I will go in and I will explain what I've learned about the controller on the Polarna e-bike. Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the controller display and all the functions of the controller display. So after I've turned my battery power on, I'll go ahead and hold this down for like 3 to 5 seconds. And the screen comes up and it processes in. I think most of you are aware of what this means by now. That's pretty much in the manual. It gives you pretty good descriptive. This is your battery level. Right now mine's at 31%. Next to it is the USB plug-in. I've got mine plugged into a dash cam. And then the next one is your light switch, which up here you can control it. When you don't have enough light, it automatically comes on. If you're out in the sunlight, it won't come on. So it's automatic. Hit that and it went off. If you notice when I did that, the screen brightened. Well, the first thing I want to do, and I'm going to do this kind of skip a little bit, I want to get that screen right. So let me go to my display settings. You hit plus and minus and hold them together and this screen will come up. And it will be on display settings, the first one. You hit your eye. Now, dormancy, that's how long you want the LED screen on before it shuts off. And I've got that cut off, so mine will stay on all the time. Go down to LCD luminance, and it's at 100. I want to cut that down for this presentation. I usually run it at 100 out in bright sunlight. So I hit my I key, and I'm going to just hit the minus and bring that on down to 10. Then I'll hold my I key in. Goes back to that screen. Now it's programmed in now. I'll go back to where I was, where I showed you my 30% is my battery level. USB, your speedometer, mine's set up for miles per hour, and then your current meter right here at the bottom, which is in watts. The next is your odometer, and then your trip odometer. Well, I set the trip odometer back to 0. The center is whatever PAS mode that you're in. This little screen down at the right, that can be, you can rotate through. So on odometer now that would be the maximum speed. Next would be the average speed. And next would be the time that I cut it on. And then I'll go back to my odometer. So there are your 4 levels. That pretty much describes the screen. Let's get over to the controller. Now to get to the controller, you have to hit the plus and minus at the same time and hold them in. You go to this screen. This is your display settings. So to get into any of these settings, it has to be highlighted. So I'll hit the I, and that brings me into my display settings. Dormancy, I've got mine shut off, so this monitor will stay on until I cut it off. But if I want it to go off in a given time period without me cutting it off, then I would change that. I'd hit my I, and then I'd hit plus or minus. Doesn't make any difference. But you've got through 9 minutes that you can set it, then it'll go back to off. Well, that's where I want, so I'll hit. Next is your trip. So let's go down 1 to the trip. Now I've reset the trip, but I'll go ahead and go through that again. So it defaults no. So hit your I, and then hit either up or down. It doesn't make any difference. And it says yes. Hit the I again for yes, and it cleared it. So now it's ready for your next ride. So now let's go down 1. That's your headlamp sensitivity. That's got a scale from 1 through 5. Hit the I. Okay, you can cut it off, or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 settings. And then you can take it back to off. You hit I. Okay, it went back. All those if you hold the eye down too long, it will save and go back to this screen. I held it a little bit too long, so let me go back in. Excuse me, go back up. And I was at the headlamp sensitivity is off. So toggle your units, hit I, you can go through metric or imperial. Next, luminosity. Of course, I can hit that, and go up to 100 or back down to 10. Keep it on 10 for right now. Password, I'm not going to change that. The default factory password is 1212. So if you want to go through and change it to whatever 4-digit number you want, you can do that. The next is factory restore. Now make sure, if you've programmed this like you like it, to make a copy, take your camera and photograph all your settings that you changed. Keep them for a record, because if you ever have to hit factory reset, it's going to go back to default on all those settings you set. So you want to keep a record of all your settings. And then the last thing at the bottom is back, and you do that, hit I, and it takes you back to your entry screen for your settings. Now you go down, the next thing we do is go down to advanced settings. Okay, we'll go to advanced settings, minus, click on that. Now we're in advanced settings. Now the first thing on the top is the wheel setting. When you go to your wheel settings, I've got mine set at 18 inches. I found out that that's the most accurate setting that I can have on this. You would think with a 20 inch, you'd either have 20 or 22. They're kind of the magic numbers for 20-inch wheels. But in this particular bike, 18 seems to work. But if you wanted to change it, you could hit your enter, hit your minus. 16 is your lowest number, 28 is your highest number. So you can go from 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27.5, 28, 16, and back to 18. And that's where I have mine set. The next is your speed limit. You can set this anywhere from 20 to 38 miles an hour, your speed sensor. Go down to it. So you can change that, and that you do that with your up and down keys. I've got mine on 33. I'd probably say you'd want to have it on a minimum of 28. I'd put it probably at 30 at a minimum, because this bike will do that. And 33, you know, it's down a hill it might hit 33, but the motor's probably shut off before it ever reached 33 anyway. Your momentum is carrying you. The next is your current limit. The controller for this bike is 18 amp. So technically, probably 18 would be the setting that you'd put it on. It's not going to hurt to go over that setting, because the controller is going to control anything beyond that setting, and it pretty much will stay at that. It may boost it up a little bit, but not much over the 18. But the factory setting for on this bike was 25 amps. So I'm just leaving it on 25. I'm not touching it. The next one I'm not touching. Speed sensor. Default was 0.1. And I've played with this, and I can't tell that it does anything. It has something to do with the electronics in the system. So I'm not messing with that. I'm leaving it on the 0.1. If anybody finds out anything different, let me know. The next is a system number. I think this has to do with the number of magnets maybe on your cadence pickup. But anyway, I leave it at factory default. I know that I've changed it and played with it. I couldn't see that it did anything, so I've left it at default. The next is set your voltage. Now this is critical. You only have two settings for that. You either have 48, 36. Of course, it's 48, so that's self-explanatory. Hit on it, and this comes up. These are very important numbers. These 48-volt batteries max out when fully charged at 54.6. This number 5 is your highest level. I had this originally, I set it at 54.6, but when I did, as soon as I do anything, it would go to 99% because it was at the threshold. So I dropped it off a little bit so it won't just automatically jump off of 100% when I get on the bike. So I set it at 54.2. So to go down, this doesn't go but in one direction once you get this screen, the little screen up, and that's your I key, takes it down through each one of those 5 settings. The 5th setting is your high end. So this battery is a 54.6 volts fully charged. I found out when I did it that way, as soon as I started riding the bike, it would knock it off 100%. So I said, well, let me set it down just a little bit and get it off that high threshold. So I set it down to 54 points. So I've got that set at 54.2. Okay, you go through your eyes, keep hitting your eyes, and I'm going to go back to that screen. You have to kind of go around your elbow to get to your thumb once you go through that list, because it doesn't go but in one direction. Now I'm at the lowest level. Now, the lowest level on my scale is 41.4 volts. Well, I've got this set at 41.8 right now because I'm still experimenting, trying to get my numbers here to match up. So you've got, if you notice, you've got 5 different levels, and I see this as 0, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. That's what I'm trying to set it up as, hoping that it'll come out on the linear battery scale up. And through just experimentation, out riding, I'm trying to get all these figures to work out right with my scale here and with my voltage over here. And it's a labor in process right now. So that's where I stand right now. Once I have achieved these numbers, I'll post. You can see what I've got now. It's working pretty close, but it's still not where I want it. It's working fairly close. The next one is your power settings. These are your PAS modes that you can set through. So we'll go down to that. Plus and minus keys, hit I again. Let me go back. Hold it. And when I'm here and I hit the I and it highlights your numbers, use your up and down key to go through your different levels that you can set your bike up at. For example, this gives you your 0 is for no power assist. Then you have 1, 2, 3 power assist. The next one, 1, what it does is the bike's always in a power assist mode. I don't like that. I like to have the safety of being able to put it in 0 when I'm not on the bike. So, but that would give you 1, 2, 3 settings. And it repeats itself through 5. 5 gives you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PAS modes. And the same thing with this one. If you go up to the next one, you get 1, which I don't like, I wouldn't use. And the next one is 7, 0, 7. I would use that. So that gives me the 0 level. And then it gives me 1 through 7 PAS modes. And now we're back at 0-9. That's where I keep my settings, at 0 past 9. I don't use the 1-9. So like I say, I like to be able to turn my PAS modes off. So I always use just the O ones. I use an O-3, O-5, O-7, or O-9. That's me. Now this screen, I just hit the I again. Once this is highlighted, hit your I again, and it'll bring up this left-hand screen. Now, there are my 9 settings for my PAS. And the way I did set mine up was, I've got 1 at 20. Excuse me. You hit your I to go down. I got 30% at 2, 40% at 3, 50% at 4, 60% at 5, 70% at 6, 80% at 7, 90% at 8, 100% at 9. I will now show a speed run through these 9 PAS modes. Okay, and I'm off. Okay, I'm gonna get up here. I'm gonna show you a little bit of how these PAS modes work. Got a little straightaway. I'll start out on a pretty level surface, but before I go through all of these, I will be on a slight decline. Well, I take it back. Just about this whole way is a very gradual decline down to a creek. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to go down to 1. Okay, I'm at PAS 1. I'm going to go ahead and just use the throttle only to get me up to speed. Well, I'm up to speed. So I've got this set at 20%. You can go in and set each of your PAS modes. Okay, it's set at 20%. All right, I'm going to up it to 2. I've got 2 set at 30%. And you'll see what this speed is. I'm going to probably change these because this low end is a little bit too low. But I had to start out, so I just progressively put them up. I'm going to go to 3. Went to 3. Now at 3, I've got that set at 40%. Now I'll go to 4. I've got 4 set at 50%. 5, I've got that set at 60%. 6, got that set at 70%. 7, I've got that set at 80%. I'm going up a slight incline. 8. I've got the 8 set at 90%, and 9, I've got that set at 100%. So this is throttle only at 100%. I am going slightly uphill, so it'll go a little bit faster than it's going now. Okay, I'm starting to get on a level surface now. Okay, it's leveling out. Okay. I will now return to the controller settings. I'm always keep my highest setting at 100% to get the full advantage of the bike. These I may adjust a little bit, especially on the low end, because it's a little bit low for me, and I may compress them a little bit. But I like all these different settings for the style riding that I do. Okay, once you get your power set, then the next one is slow start. And you've got, hit your eye, you've got 0 through 3 on those. And to be quite honest, I've used all 3. I cannot tell much difference in the performance, the way the bike handles, anything else for acceleration, going through these things. So I really can't say what they do, except they, I guess, introduce the speed that it takes to get through, to start the pedals, to engage the PAS. I really don't know. It's not much difference, I can tell you that. This is your cruise control. You need to cut your cruise control on or off. I don't know why anybody would want to cut it off. I use that cruise control. Without the cruise control, I wouldn't have the bike, because I use it so much in the way that it assists me in acceleration and everything else. So for me, I always stay on. But if you wanted to cut it off like that. But for me, it's always on. And then we've got back. Then we go back to the display, and if you want to get off the display, you hit exit. But you don't really have to, because you sit here for 2 more seconds, it'll automatically jump back anyway, because it's. But anyway, I hit that, and I hit my eye. I go back to my main screen. And I think that's pretty much going through everything. I will say that I've got my speedometer within about 2/10 of my GPS, which I'm pleased with that. I don't care to be any closer. I don't know if the GPS is all that close. So being within 0.2 miles per hour of my GPS, so that's fine with me. And the tripometer is still running slow. This usually at about 10 miles on my GPS, this will show 9. And I've changed all the settings on there, and I've found nothing that affects that miles. It stays at about the same thing. It's about, I guess, about 10% slow. I think it's actually about 9.1 when my GPS is at 10. So it's pretty close to 10% off, 9 to 10% off, which I'm used to. My electric XP was the same way. It had about the same amount, maybe even a little worse. That should wrap it up. I hope that this has helped some of y'all. I know it's been a problem finding information, because I know I've been surfing the net and really looking, digging, and it's hard for me to find any information on this other than the bare basics. There are a couple of other companies that are selling bikes that have never out carbon copies of this, and I've looked at their manuals. The Yami Fat Bear 750S is actually closer to this display than the one that Polarna has on their site. So you may want to go there and look. We're kind of pretty much on our own when figuring some of these things out. I hope this has helped y'all, and if not, hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, y'all have a nice day. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've learned something. If not, I hope you found it entertaining. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a nice day.